Hey guys, it's James Cassin here. Hope you guys are all safe and well. So welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Remember to hit a like on this video, guys. Comment down below in this video, and also subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit the notification bell if you have not, to see all my videos on all of your devices. So without further ado, today I'm going to go through my Premier League prediction for 22 to 23 season. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, depending on what I put your team, if you do support them, remember this is my opinion. It's not yours, it is mine. So don't be putting in the comments going, oh, you put United here, oh, you put Arsenal there, oh, you put Fulham here, you put Newcastle there. Whatever happens, this is my opinion. Okay? So, without further ado, let's go. So, in 20th, I have decided to go with Fulham. Fulham have recently signed Andreas Pereira and Polina, the two to add to their midfield. They have also going to be joining Alexander Mitrovic at front for them. With Mitrovic, as you know, in the Premier League, he's not one of those players who will end up getting around 30-40 goals like he did last season in the Championship. He's only going to be ending up getting a tally of around 5 or 6 goals. That is just because that's where he will end up doing. And I can't see it. Davidson Reed as well, I can't see him getting anywhere into the team. Even he will play, but I don't think he's going to motivate as much with Mitrovic. 19th, I have decided to go with Bournemouth. They've only signed one player in this transfer window, which Scott Parker hasn't really done. He has done well to get them back into the Premier League, but the issue is they've only signed Joe Rothwell from Blackburn, and that's the only person they've actually signed. There's not much I can actually say about them at this moment. Moving on to the team that's going to finish in 18th, I have decided to go with Southampton. Southampton have really struggled over the last couple of seasons under Hasenhüttl, and I think he will be ready for the drop this year by getting the sack. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I guarantee he will be sacked this season. Also, they have brought in 3 players. They brought in Bazunu, Aribo and Laviga. So I think they are going to end up proceeding into the team. They are going to be putting Bazunu in there over McCarthy, which I'm going to be very shocked if that does happen. Aribo should end up getting on the score sheet as well, and they are going to be struggling at front because they did struggle for goals last season. Okay, moving on to 17th, I've decided to go with Everton. You've seen how bad they were last season. The only 1 win out of 10 they ended up getting was against Manchester United, the game that I actually went to. The video that I've still not uploaded because I don't think it will be uploaded anymore because I was really upset on the day. But they've only signed James Cassin from Burnley. That is the only signing they've had. And as you know, Richarlison has now gone out of the door. So they're only going to have the likes of Calvert-Lewin, Gordon and Dele Alli to go with. Dele Alli is on the rocks at the moment, isn't it? I watched a couple of highlights of the pre-season game where they got beat 4-0 and Dele Alli missing by a couple of yards. Basically one of the biggest misses in his whole career, which is one thing that you should not do. Oh, poor Dele Alli. He shouldn't have left Spurs. Right, we move on now to the next position, which is going to be 16th. I am actually going to go with the survivors, Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest has recently signed 2 Manchester United players. One on loan, which is Dean Henderson, who's going to be an absolute baller in net for them as a sweeper keeper. They have also signed Jay Lings as well, which is Jesse Lingard. I hope he ends up wrecking their dressing room because he's an absolute... And that is coming from a Manchester United fan, because all he does is TikToks and silly videos on Snapchat. But I hope that he tries and actually does something for Forest. And also as well, they have signed Harry Toffolo as well, so just hopefully that he ends up getting into the team and tries to make it improve. But like I say, that is the team that I think that will survive out the 2 of the 3. Next up, we are going to go to 15th. We are going to go to Leeds. So Leeds have ended up signing 5 players in this transfer window. They've signed Tyler Adams and Aronson, and they've also got Rocker. Just a couple to name. So they're going to be the main culprits of the team. They have just recently lost Rafinha, who has now gone all the way to Barcelona, which is going to be a big shock for them because, as you know, they're probably up for steady pace when it was under Bielsa, but as the new manager has came in, Jesse March, I think he's going to be struggling a little bit again, so we will see what happens. Next up, in 14th position, we are going to go with Crystal Palace. So Crystal Palace have only brought in Iwo Abawe, I think that's how you pronounce it. Sorry if there's any Derby fans out there, but he's the only signing that's coming for Palace at this moment. The main focus for Palace this year is Wilfried Zaha. He is now starting to get on a little bit in the team, and they've still got Jeffrey Schlupp, who is now getting on a little bit as well. And the main focus is going to be on Edouard this season, the Frenchman at front. When I've seen him play in pre-season against Manchester United, I know they didn't play a full entire 11, but they may have a chance of having that roller coaster of a season where they end up having a decent win and ending up flopping elsewhere else. Just make sure you keep up your record against Manchester City at the Etihad, please. Okay, next up we are going to move on to 13th position, which is going to be Brentford. So Brentford have only signed 3 players at the moment. They've brought in a brand new keeper in Stakowska. Apologies if I cannot pronounce that right. I do play FIFA, but I do struggle with the names on that, as you know, the my Standard United series. If you've not watched any of the series, please go and watch it as well. Also, they've signed Ben Mee from Burnley as they got relegated, and they have also signed someone called Hinke as well. So the main target for Brentford this season is going to be Ivan Toney. He's going to be a big man up front. Manchester United have actually been after Ivan Toney, even though he is a championship player. But you never know, we can get into them places where you do not expect. But I do hope that Ivan Toney does have a good season, because he's in my fantasy team. I'm wrecking it for you there. Only 1 out of the 15. So next up we are going to go to 12th position, which is going to be Wolves. They've only signed 1 player. Wolves have still got Jimenez, who's going to be up front for him, Pedens, Neto. They've still got Neves, also Gian Martino. It's going to be a struggle for him, as these guys like Neves and Martino are now starting to get old under Bruno Lang as the manager. I think he'll still get the best out of them. Also, Max Kilman was absolutely amazing in defence last year, so I think he's now going to be the main man in the defence. Next up we move on to 11th, which I think is going to be Leicester, and Leicester have barely signed anyone this transfer window at this moment, so it is a bit of a struggle, because it's going to be coming a chance with Jamie Vardy, who is now getting on to 34, 35 years old, and it's all up to mainly Daka and Iniacho up front. They've still got Armat in the defensive position. We've got Preet, who is going to be playing in between, and also Yuri Tillemans. He may be on his way out of the club, because they've had the likes of Newcastle. They've also had a couple of French clubs like Lyon and Marseille looking at him. So it is going to be a struggle if Tillemans does disappear. So that is why I've ended up putting Leicester in 11th. Let's crack on to the top 10. So the top 10, I decided to go with Newcastle in the 10th spot. As you know, Newcastle have ended up signing Matt Targett. That was previous, I know, but he still counts as similar to a new signing. They've also signed Nick Pope from Burnley as well, so they've robbed the keeper. And also they have signed Botman as well to join up in their defence. It's going to be a bit weird because they've still got Matt Ritchie playing out on the left, and it's going to be weird. They have got Chris Wood, who they've just recently signed, and they got Bruno Guimaraes. I think that's how you pronounce it. I know, like I mentioned, I'm not good with names, but Guimaraes, I think that's how you pronounce it. I think he's going to have a great season with Newcastle. He's going to be performing with Chris Wood up front, 100%. They've still got Callum Wilson, who's going to be playing up front for him as well. So let's just see if the richest club in the world can perform and do something decent this season. Next up, we have got West Ham, who are currently be sitting in 9th position. They've currently signed Alfonso Areola now as a permanent keeper from PSG for around £13 million. They have also signed Ansgaard as well to join their team around the defensive midfielders areas, and also they've signed Connor Coventry and a player called Downs as well. And for West Ham, it's just going to be one of them seasons where they end up having a bit of another roller coaster of a ride. They end up beating teams that are unexpected, and they end up looking like the standouts and think, oh, we are whoever. Okay, so that's all I can say about them. Next up is Aston Villa. So Aston Villa have now going to be sitting in 8th, as they have just recently signed Philip Coutinho, now a permanent player under Steven Gerrard. Also Diego Carlos, who is now their brand new defender as well. They've also signed in Olsen as a keeper, and they've also signed Camara as well to join their midfield. So I think Villa are going to have a good season, with the likes of Ollie Watkins now is going to be the star man up front for them. I know they signed Coutinho, but them two are going to be at each other's throats mainly going forward, and I would not like Coutinho end up taking a free kick against any teams in the Premier League this year, because I think he will end up getting a couple of them spot on. Next up, we are going to go to Brighton. Brighton have basically signed no one at this moment, but the main target for them at this moment is Cucurella, who Manchester City, who are looking at him for around 40 to 50 million pounds. For Cucurella, are you mad? He played every single game and he scored against United and started crying. What an absolute wimp. And you spend around near enough 40 to 50 million pounds on a player. Good thing that Brighton have actually rejected. But the main two players that are going to be tasty for them this year is going to be McAllister, the Argentinian who plays in the midfield, and also Lisandro Trossard. You know what this guy's like on the left hand side. He can cut in and out. The amount of crosses he's going to be setting up for Welbeck. I know Welbeck's getting on a little bit, but you never know. I think he will probably bag about 5 or 6 goals this season. Next up is the top 6. So 6th, I have ended up going with my own team right behind me, Manchester United. As you know, we've ended up signing Malacia, Christian Eriksen and Martinez. But the main worry at this moment is all about Cristiano Ronaldo. Is he going to be staying at United? Is he going to be disappearing? Are United getting Frankie de Jong? Yes or no? In my personal opinion, it's gone on for far too long now. We could have actually had him in the team when we drew with Aston Villa, and when we play this week against Atletico Madrid and Real Vallecano back at Old Trafford for the first time this season. But I don't think he's going to come, because I think Xavi's now ended up putting him into a decent role at Barcelona, so I guarantee he's not going anywhere. Shame. Okay, next up we are going to go into the top 5. So 5th, I have decided to go with Chelsea. So Chelsea now have signed 2 key players for the team. They signed Koulibaly for the defence. And also they've signed Raheem Sterling from Manchester City. The guy scored over 100 goals for Manchester City, and he's really going to help out on that left-hand side. But one of the main aspects I'm actually going to be looking for this season is how Kai Havertz is actually going to be playing up front, because I think he's actually going to be the main striker for them, and he will be alternating with Sterling and Ziyech if he's still going to be at the club. Because as you know, Romelu Lukaku, who has now gone back to Inter Milan, who thinks he's absolutely amazing. Fat. I'm not going to say it because I know kids watch this video. But yeah, he actually is. He needs to lose a lot of weight. Well, it's going to be mainly a big miss for Chelsea, even though he only got about 5 or 6 goals after them breaking a transfer record, just like we did with him. And look what happened to us. Okay, next up, we're going to now move on to the top 4. When in 4th position, I have gone with Arsenal. Yes, Arsenal are going to finish 4th, just like old times. I think they will, because as you know, they've signed Jesus, they've signed Fabio Vieira, and also they've signed Alistair Zinchenko from Manchester City. Zinchenko is going to be an absolute electric bolt down that left-hand side when helping out with Odegaard in the midfield. Also with Jesus going to be assisting a lot there of Zinchenko Ivavic, Zinchenko, Vieira, and also as well Nketiah and Saka are in this team. But it's big boots as well for Eddie Nketiah as he takes on the 14 shirt at Arsenal. Very big boots. You've got to fill in Thierry Henry's old number. It's going to be a tough season for him. I think Saka will have a great season as well. Moving on to the top three. Third, I have decided to go with Spurs. Spurs have made outstanding signings in this transfer window under Antonio Conte. They've signed Perisic, Fraser Foster was a backup, Lenglet, Bissouma, Richarlison, Spence. These players are the players that Manchester United wanted. They wanted Spence, they wanted Bissouma. They only got Bissouma for £25 million because if it was any other big club like Liverpool, City, United or Arsenal, they would end up going, oh, give us 50 odd million and he's all yours. Nope, but not Tottenham Hotspur. They ended up going in for half the price and they've got him to join their midfield. The main aspects for these is definitely going to be Son and Kane at front. Richarlison is definitely going to be a really good backup for Harry Kane if he ends up getting injured at any point. And it's just going to be one of those seasons how well they are going to play. I think Lenglet is going to be a really good defender with Romero at the back. Moving on to the top two, as you know, it's going to be Liverpool or City where they end up. I've decided to go with Manchester City to finish second. As you know, they've signed Alvarez, they've signed Haaland, and also they have signed Calvin Phillips from Leeds United. Not a lot of City fans who I've actually spoke to didn't want Calvin Phillips in the team. But the main aspects for them is definitely going to be Haaland, Foden and Mahrez, Grealish at front. Also Kevin De Bruyne, he's going to be the main captain of the squad this season, and we'll end up seeing how the rivals end up doing down the road. Just hope you lose to Crystal Palace again this year at home. That'll be an absolute baller if that happens. But as you know, yes, I've gone with it. Liverpool are going to finish first. Liverpool have signed Darwin Núñez and also they've signed Carvalho at the moment. But they didn't have to change anything. I know they've lost Mane, but they've got Luis Diaz to fill in that role. And also they've got the likes of Núñez who's going to be coming in. And then whatever formation they play, they're going to end up playing with Salah, Núñez, Jota. Or is it going to be Salah, Núñez and Diaz? It could be any of them four at front. And it's going to be a real mess. So, that's why I think that's going to happen. Now, I've ended up having a couple of additional things to my list. So, what I'm going to end up doing is tell you about like who's going to be top goal scorer and everything like so. So, first off, I'm going to do this very quick because I want to try and get this under 20 minutes. So, I've got 2 minutes to blare through this. Top goal scorer, I'm going to go with Erling Haaland with 24 goals. I'm going to go with most assists is going to be Heung-min Son. For the first sacking, I've decided to go with Hasenhüttl at Southampton. It was very close between him and Lampard to be sacked, but I think Hasenhüttl will be the first, and then Lampard will follow on behind. Team to watch out for is definitely Spurs with all the 6 signings, and definitely under Antonio Conte. He's going to play an absolute fantastic role as Spurs manager, and just hope they do finish third. They do deserve better. The team that's going to flop, I think, is definitely going to be Leicester. If they do lose Tielemans in the midfield and Ndidi at any point, then it is going to be a real shock for them. It only takes one injury, and then look how bad it'll happen. Manager of the season, I've gone with Guardiola. It's only fair because if you think about it, last season Klopp ended up winning Manager of the Season when City won the league. So I'm going to go with Liverpool to win the league and Guardiola to end up being Manager of the Season. Last two, I'm going to go with Player of the Season. I'm actually going to go with Kevin De Bruyne. I don't like him myself as a Man United fan, but I think he is actually going to be an absolute gem this season for them. And the player that's going to improve, now this is going to be a shot to you. I'm actually going to say Jadon Sancho. Only because Jadon Sancho, I've watched him via pre-season and he's played absolutely phenomenal. I think he's been getting into the court on that right side. His attitude is a lot better than last season. When it was under Solskjaer, he didn't get into the team that much. But now under Erik ten Hag, I think he's going to be assisting goals for the likes of Martial, who will be probably up front instead of Ronaldo, depending on what happens. Rashford's done well at front. The front three looking electric at this moment. Also, the likes of Donny van der Beek going to be coming back into the team. He plays well. Malacia is going to be playing at left back. We've got Martinez and Varane who are going to be playing in defence. Bruno Fernandes, he's going to be one of them players. I don't know what's going to happen, because if Ronaldo does end up going to the likes of either Bayern, Atletico Madrid or anywhere else, do you think Bruno Fernandes is going to be back to his normal speed? But that is going to be the end of this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit a thumbs up on this video, guys. Comment down below on your predictions on what you think is going to happen in the Premier League this season, and also subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Let me think. Bear with me 1 second.